Hey, this is Steve Vargo with iDoc, and the question of the week came from a practice owner who had an employee who wanted a pretty substantial raise and wanted to kind of talk it through and decide what direction to go with that. In that kind of situation, there's three things I'd look at. One is ask the question, is the employee worth it? And sometimes there's situations where an employee is underpaid or perhaps has not had a raise in a while. But also I would say look at the cost of losing that employee versus the additional cost in payroll it would be to keep that employee on. And is there a greater cost to you to losing that employee than there would be in retaining that employee? And then perhaps an argument can be made that it's actually worth it, that employee is actually worth it to keep on. Secondly, I would look at things from a budgetary standpoint, and this is one of the advantages of having a growth-oriented, successful practice is that you have the advantage of being able to recruit better employees, to retain good employees. So look at things from a budgetary standpoint and ask yourself, can I afford to keep this person on? And lastly, I would say look at things from a industry from a market value standpoint, and what is that employee worth in your market? In other words, would somebody else be willing to pay that employee whatever it is they're asking? Now, if you don't think there's a market out there for somebody to pay what they're asking, it gives you more flexibility to come back and negotiate. There's always a little bit of risk there because you're not quite sure. Maybe somebody else is willing to give that person the amount they're asking. But in some cases, we kind of look at the package that you're offering and say, this is a very competitive offer in your market, even if it doesn't exactly match what the other person is asking for. And if they're not getting that offer, they're not getting a higher offer somewhere else, there's really less incentive for them to leave the position they're already at. So just a couple things to consider next time an employee of yours comes to you and says, I want a big raise.